as you know, Tasha and I are a couple. We're also super busy, which means we make a point to make time for each other. And this is how we do it. Hi, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Tasha with One Big Happy Life, and we help you find balance, build wealth, and live happy. Everything that you need to create the life that you want. So, quick backstory into the origination of this video. So, Joseph and I, throughout the course of our relationship, have actually spent massive amounts of time together because we've typically worked either in the same building or very near each other for most of our relationship. And it's only recently, with me quitting my job, that we don't see each other throughout the day.
Yeah, it started to go down since we moved to the East Coast a little bit. But before that, it was commutes, worked on the same floor. So we took all of our breaks, our lunches together, and then we were working out together. We do almost everything together. And this is the first time where I'm commuting to work and she's never with me
Never.
anymore.
Yeah. And it's this year, especially, I think it has gotten worse, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
at the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
where we were only commuting together, one day a week?
Mm-hmm.
And now we don't commute together at all. And then, honestly, the business has been really busy since I quit my job. It's like, yes, I in theory have more time and I am around more, whereas I used to be working all the time. But basically, we found ourselves fighting more than we normally do. And a lot of times it would end up kind of revolving around the business. And I went to, because I go to therapy. I started going to therapy when I started doing IVF. And so I went and I was talking to my doctor about it. And he was like, he misses you, right? And I'm like, what? And so then I went home and I talked to Joseph about it. And it was like, that's what it was. It was that things had gotten so busy with the business and we weren't seeing each other like we used to see each other. And Joseph started doing triathlons too. So, or training.
Just throwing that in there to say, oh, well, that's the time thing. No.
Well, I'm not throwing it.
No, but so what it is our schedules, used to be like this.
That. Exactly.
And then we needed to intentionally start altering them for kids, for business, for triathlons. And then we started to, just not line up the way that we did. And then it's like we were having this period of just having still time together, but just so much less than what we clearly want and used to have.
Yeah. And I also stopped waking up early too. And so that meant I was going to bed after him versus us going to bed together and us not waking up at the same time. So to go from spending years, like almost a decade, like more than half of a decade, spending hours and hours together every single day, to really not spending much quality time one-on-one with each other really at all, definitely started to affect our relationship. So we've had to make wow, this got really long, but we had to make a conscious effort to start spending more time together and to plan to spend more time together. So we just wanted to share some of the things that we are doing to just kind of refocus on our relationship and make sure that we're making that quality time for each other.
Okay. The first one you have probably seen on Instagram if you follow us. We are making more intentional efforts to have designated date nights, and we actually want to be doing this not just like maybe every month like we kind of had been doing, but more like every week. So there is designated several hours where it's just us, no kids, having, whatever one-on-one non-business, just us conversations. And that's going to be kind of relaxing from so many different standpoints.
Mm-hmm.
And so we definitely want to do that. And we think it's super important for there to be designated relationship couple time where you can concentrate on just the relationship, just enjoying each other and nothing else.
And like dating each other, right? Like you used to date sort of back in the day before you had kids, before like life got really complicated. And so what that means is, of course, we'll have to adjust our budget so that we can, say, go out to eat. But I think that we also, so what we'll probably do is alternate going out to eat versus staying in and doing just like a movie night at home, but that being sort of dedicated time where it's like just us to have a movie night. In part because we don't love always going out. We kind of like being home. We've made ourselves a comfy home that we enjoy being in, but then also we don't necessarily want to spend the money to go out every single week, especially, and the calories too when you eat out can be a lot.
Yeah, so clearly, as you're deciding what you want your date nights to look like, you have to take all of that into account, and you don't have to leave your house, and you don't have to make a big production of it. Like, it just depends on your personal preferences. And so it varies for us. Sometimes our date nights are big things, and we've taken nights where we'll go and stay in a city and we'll go out to eat at some unusual fancy restaurants, and there are
Hmm.
those date nights, and then there are also date nights where it's like Natasha said, you just watch a movie at home. That's still important too.
Yeah. So for the next less than a year, I guess 9 months, we'll have Alexis available many weeks to stay with Reeves. If we do decide to go out, worst come to worst, we can always hire a sitter. But then once Alexis goes away to college in September, then we'll have to adjust our budget to also include paying for a sitter to stay with Reeves on those nights when we want to go out. And I do think that it's important for us to go out because it feels different when you're out and about and having like a date night versus kind of just being in the house. I think there's something to that changing where your location stuff.
Another thing that we've been doing, at least some of the time, has been working out together. So we got the home gym now. It's been well
More
over
than
a
a
year, or
year.
just over a year. I'm not positive, but definitely over a year. And we've added things to it.
It's been
And
almost 2 years.
it's been 2 years already.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Susie was here when we had it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. Okay. So it's been a while, and we hadn't really been working out together, but we're trying and planning on working out more together, so that time is lining up and we can hang out. And we used to work out together all the time, and we basically have like an awesome gym down there
Hmm.
because we've got a treadmill, we have an elliptical, and then I have my bike on a bike trainer, and we also have a second smaller bike trainer that Tasha might put her bike on. But so bottom line is, multiple people can be working out at the same time, and why shouldn't we be doing that together? There's no reason we shouldn't be. So we're going to make a point to make that time line up, and then we can hang out.
So another thing that we have always done, and so this is just a suggestion for all you other parents out there, is to put your kids to bed early. That is something that we have always done with Alexis and with Reeves. So Reeves, his bedtime, like we start to put him down around 6:15, so that he's in bed by 6:30, 6:45 every single night. Reeves wakes up super early, so I'm extra happy that he goes to bed early. But it was the same thing with Alexis. And honestly, Alexis had a 9 p.m. bedtime up until what, age 15 or something like that?
Oh
16
yeah,
maybe?
so she was definitely going to bed and getting the the high level of recommended range of sleep, and like she's always been a sleeper. She can fall asleep just like that, even if she got plenty of sleep the night before. It's crazy.
But the important thing is your kids do not need to be up late with you. And so we just recommend when you come home from work, focus in on family time. And yes, it may only be an hour, but then they need to go to bed because that's what weeknights are like. And then you really get in that quality time on the weekends as working parents. Because it just can give you that little bit of space that you need in the evenings to just spend time catching up with each other on your day as adults without your children there. And that's just so important for maintaining your relationship.
Yeah, and there are also some articles and people studying this where it's indicating that putting your kids down earlier is not as successful for them and successful for you, as just everybody being happier. So because it gives you that extra time, and then they get plenty of sleep.
Mhm.
It works out really well if you can do it.
And fourth, and we've talked about this before on the channel, but we highly recommend, if you feel comfortable with it, showering together. Now, some people like to have their space, and there are times when I like to shower by myself because, like, I like to be all steaming in there, and Joseph does not like the shower to be super hot. So I definitely have my times where I want to shower by myself, but generally that'll be Sunday when I'm washing my hair. On weeknights, we will shower together. We will get ready for bed together. And again, that allows us to spend some quality time with each other. Typically, also, the great thing about showering together is you don't have your phones because your phones are not in the shower with you. So there is really nothing else for you to focus on but each other. And that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that is very true that is an excellent way to, close off the outside world because, there's nothing else to do there. So you just hang out, talk to each other. So it's been nice. And we've done that for years. Even when we were in an apartment that had what I firmly believe is less than a 3x3 shower.
Yeah. And so we actually just recently got a quote from a contractor about making a bigger shower by remodeling our bathroom, and it was like $35,000. So I don't think we're gonna do that because I don't really want to stay in this house for more than another 2 years. So we'll probably hold off on that. But next house, which I want to be forever house, would be awesome if we had a nice big shower with like double shower heads because we just love showering together. So
I just don't know that forever houses exist.
Well,
especially for
house.
us.
For a house that I would feel happy being in forever. This house, I could be happier. Don't get me wrong. I can be happy just about anywhere. But I don't love this house. I want to love my house that feels like my forever house, even if I leave it behind.
Yeah, so we go back and forth about this. And we just don't know. I'm just not convinced that we're going to move in 2 years.
We're going to move in 2 years. Mark my words, guys. Mark it as soon as Alexis basically needs to graduate. Joseph's student loans needs to be forgiven. And then we are location independent, counting down the days.
And then I would need to get another job in another location.
Perhaps not.
Or the business would have to be making enough money for me to then work full time in the business or make enough once I start working full time in the business to replace.
This is the conversation that we've been having for like 4 years of living in this house. So the last thing the tip that we have is something that we also used to do a lot together that we don't do as much anymore, which is doing house projects together. So
I completely disagree that we don't do this anymore. We are doing this right now. The business is
it's true. It's our project.
Is our project now. So we used to do DIY projects like we would build furniture. We're not in the room that I can point to anything that we built. That's not entirely true.
We built that.
Yeah, exactly.
And we painted that. Those are DIY projects right there that we did together.
Yeah, and we actually probably... Did you do Instagram on this one? Or
I did. I did do an Instagram.
So we
built that.
We made some DIY videos, and they take a long time, which is why we haven't done as many of them. And anyway, but so we used to do more of those physical building projects, and now we do more of the business is our project. Mm-hmm. So it's different, but having common hobbies and things like that, super fun.
Yeah, and we have some great memories, like Alexis's bed, which, by the way, she was talking to me about it today, and she's like, and I was saying that we have plans for her room, and she's like, well, can you please just save my bed so I can take it with me when I move into my apartment, because you guys put your, what'd she say, blood, sweat, and tears into it or whatever. But, she says she loves all the things that we've ever made for her. And I do love our DIY projects. So I think I would like to start doing some more again. Maybe. We'll see. But anyway, so we hope these tips will help you strengthen your relationship and make time for the person that matters, right? The person that you will be spending the rest of your life with, and make sure that you keep that relationship strong.
All right, see you guys next time.
Bye.
We'll be chilling and having a good time.